It is July. The Tour de France is currently going on right now. I'm wearing yellow in support of the Tour de France, but the Tour de France brings a lot of new cyclists into the sport. Summer in general brings a lot of new cyclists into the sport. And here is my best tips that I wish I would have known when I started cycling. I started cycling almost a decade ago, and it's basically become my entire life. So why should you listen to the tips that I have to share? Well, you don't have to, but if you want to, this is why. I've been racing now on the road, on gravel, cyclocross for about 5 to 6 years or so. I've worked in the bike industry where I got to help a lot of people on their cycling journey. I listen to about every podcast on cycling, watch every cycling video on YouTube. So I have a fair bit of information that I've stored and collected, and I've tried a bunch of things. And these are things that I do now on the daily that I wish I would have done when I was beginning. So let's get into it. Number 1, buy good kit. Okay, I've been there. I bought cheap kit. The editor can place in my Team Sky knockoff kit that I bought when I first started cycling. Now, I loved Team Sky. I loved Chris Froome. That's what really got me into cycling and then wanting to race one day. So I'm not going to shame anybody, but now I ride good kit and I go to it every time it's clean. And there's some kit that still is in my drawer that I don't want to touch because it's not good kit. And I went through that cheap kit very quickly. Like it wore out within a year. And so then I had to buy more cheap kit. And at the end of the day, I probably spent the same amount that I could have spent on more expensive kit or better kit. Now, I'm not saying you need to go buy the top brands and the most expensive kit. No, but invest somewhere between $100 to $200, maybe as low as $80 in a pair of bib shorts. You can get a lot of good jerseys for like $60 to $150, somewhere in there. Now, I know that is still somewhat expensive, but you sit on the bike a lot, and to have it comfortable down in that region is just nice and lovely. So that's a big tip for me, is wearing good kit, because it will last. I still have kit that I've wore for like 7 years, no joke, and it still holds up really well. So some of that quality stuff can really last a long time. I like Stolen Goat. I've been riding them for about 6-7 months at this point, and they really have become my go-to bottoms. Like when they are clean, I'm wearing them because they are so comfortable. I have a couple of pairs of their bib shorts, and they're reasonably priced compared to some of the big players in the game. That's what I really like at this moment. And don't think that just expensive bibs means good bibs. There's some expensive bibs out there that fall apart very quickly that I am not happy with. Not here to disparage brands right now, but just know that just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's the best kit out there. And then when it comes to jerseys, a good jersey is nice to have. Once you start figuring out kind of what you like in a jersey, then I would say spend some more money on it. A lot of bibs are pretty much the same across the board. They don't have a ton of different like fits and cuts and all that, a little bit. But like jerseys especially, you can get a real aero one, you can get a more loose fitting one, you can get one with more storage, with less storage. So kind of figure out what you like. Maybe go with a little bit cheaper of a jersey to start with, and then start buying some jerseys that are a little bit more expensive, a little bit better fit. So what do you get in those better jerseys? You get a better overall snug fit. You won't have as much looseness around, and when you're going in the wind, your body is the biggest barrier and aero thing that is not aero. So make yourself aero. Get some good kit. I like sleeves that go long too. That's something I look for in a kit. I like a low neckline as well. I like sturdy pockets. Those are some things that I look for in a jersey, and I know the brands that I like now. Stolen Goat for sure has really sturdy pockets, and they have long elbows. I love that aspect about them. So invest in some good kit, especially bib shorts. That's where I would say spend your money. Don't buy the cheap stuff because it's just going to fall apart, and then you got to buy more. So buy 1 or 2 good pairs, keep washing them. Happy days. Number 2. Now, I came from wrestling and baseball that I played my whole life, and then got into cycling. And in wrestling, man, we went hard every day in practice, right? And we didn't eat a lot as well. So, I got on the bike and I was like, why do I need to eat while biking? That didn't make sense to me. I just had water. I didn't even really have Gatorade. I just did water on the bike. And in baseball as well, we would just do Gatorade. We wouldn't really eat while playing. So that was a weird concept to me, that you should be eating on the bike. And I remember my first 2 years of biking or whatever, I'd get done with a hard ride and be like, man, I am just exhausted and I can't keep pushing. And I thought that's because I was out of shape and I wasn't trained enough as a cyclist. Well, now that I absolutely pack on the carbs while biking and before biking and after biking, and I just eat carbs all the time, I realize that it's a fueling thing. So I used to not eat while biking, and now I'm such a big proponent of eating while biking. Now, this is a very long rabbit hole that I could spend hours on, but to make it simple, 30 grams of carbs is what I take for an easy ride. And I mean 30 grams of carbs per hour. I take 60 grams of carbs per hour for like a medium intensity ride. And then when I'm racing, racing, I'm like 90, 100, 110 grams of carbs per hour. Now those carbs really help you hit those high intensity efforts. So for racing, that's why I'm in that, 90, 100. I'm burning through a lot of carbs and I'm burning through a lot of calories and I need to replenish that. But just for like normal everyday riding, somewhere between 30 and 60 grams of carbs per hour is a great place to start. Now you can get this in gels or drink formula. I have really been loving Carbs Fuel, which is a kind of a cheaper alternative for carbs, and they taste good. They work really well for me. You don't need to go spend boatloads of money on expensive carbs. Like, you just need carbs in your bottle, in a gel, something like that. And Carbs Fuel has been just one of the brands I've really enjoyed recently. But eating is so beneficial to your cycling. I have been absolutely loading up on the carbs this year. And for the past couple of years, I really have been. But like this year, I'm taking it even another step further with the amount of carbs that I am taking in. And I'm just seeing great results. I have not seen a negative effect. Now, if you think that you're going to get fat while doing it, it's not possible. So I'll give you an example. When I race, I can burn this last weekend, I burned like 900 calories in an hour of racing. Now, if there's 4 calories in 1 gram of carbs, that means if I take on 100 grams of carbs, that's 400 calories. That's not even half of what I just burned in a race. So like when you're racing, it's really hard to overeat. It is. Like, trust me, it's really hard to overeat. Now on the low, moderate intensity rides where I burn 400 calories an hour, right? I'm not going to shove down 400 calories of carbs. That doesn't make sense. So I bring less carbs. Now, also you can load up on carbs before a ride and get those glycogen stores filled up. Therefore, you may not need to bring fuel out on the ride. But that's still for easy rides. If you're riding more than 2 hours, for sure, bring something. And I like to eat early, eat often. As soon as I start riding, I usually have carb mix in my bottle and I start drinking. And if you're afraid of eating on the bike, like taking things out of your pocket, put it in your bottle. That's what carb mix is for. Reach down, squeeze some into your mouth, you automatically get carbs. And another misconception that I had and why I didn't eat is because I wanted to save gels for that big ride or that important ride. But it's a really bad idea to do that because you never want to do anything in an event or in a big goal of yours that you haven't tried in practice. So practice it. Your gut needs to work on handling, especially big amounts of carbs, but any amount of carbs. Like, figure out what works best for you. Try different brands and make sure it sits well with you before your big day. Also, you want to train well, right? Like, you want to do really well in training to build yourself up. If you were going to the gym every day and you were trying to build muscle and you neglected protein, well, you're leaving stuff on the table, right? Like, you're not going to build as much muscle as you could if you were taking protein at the same time. It's the same thing with gels. So make sure to eat gels while training because you want to get the most out of your training as possible so you can come into your event day or race or whatever as best as possible. So I wish I would have eaten on the bike when I first started because I bonked a lot and had no idea why. Importance of a bike fit is my number 3 because I didn't even know bike fits were a thing. I thought you just got on the bike and you just started riding and, as long as it didn't hurt, you were good. And that is true to a degree. Like, if you first started cycling, I'm not saying you need to go get a bike fit right away, but a bike fit is going to be more important than a new set of carbon wheels, the new handlebars, new saddle, even like a new kit. Like, go get a bike fit because you spend a lot of time on your bike and you shouldn't have pain. I deal with a lot of new riders and they're like, yeah, I just kind of deal with it, whatever. You're like supposed to have pain on the bike. I'm like, no. You should not have pain on the bike. So a bike fit is a very valuable thing. Plus it lasts a long time. Okay. Like, it's going to be an investment for 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. Now, some people would argue you should get a bike fit every year. And I'd be a proponent of that. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but a bike fit also is like a valuable investment that you make on your bike and then you ride your bike for 3, 5 years. As long as you have no pain or injury or big life event that really changes the way your body functions, it should still work for that bike. If you buy a new bike, maybe you get a new bike fit, or you just try to translate what your bike fit did before into your new bike, okay? So you want to be comfortable on the bike. You shouldn't have pain on the bike, and a lot of that pain basically can go away, blink of an eye, with a bike fit. Now, not all bike fits are created equal. Do some research in your area to who a good bike fitter is, because not all bike fitters are the same. So make sure you try to find a good one in your area. So riding indoors, didn't know it existed when I first started cycling. And basically when I first started, there was only the wheel-on trainers, which wheel-on trainers kind of suck. Sorry if you have one. Like, direct drive is awesome. Like, if you're just going to buy an indoor trainer, buy a direct drive one. But I didn't know indoor training existed. And so I thought you just just put the bike away during the winter. I live in Minnesota. It's very, very cold here in the winter. I don't bike outside. But now basically I never stop cycling because I bike indoors. And holy crap, can biking indoors make you so fit, right? Like I just put the bike away in the winter, logged off from cycling, and would try to get fit again in the spring. And if you want to do that for your lifestyle, totally fine. But if you want to carry that into the winter, indoor cycling is so much, like I have a blast indoor riding. Honestly, I have a good setup here. I got my own little bike cave, right? But like I love my indoor riding. And the thing that I love about it too is it makes you incredibly fit. Like it can make you so much more fit. I think indoor riding intervals are better than outdoor riding intervals. Okay. Like there's benefits to outdoor, but if you just want to crank out your workout, hit every single interval perfectly, indoors is the best. There's no cars, there's no stoplights, there's no stop signs, there's no coasting. Like, it's just, you put your trainer on erg mode, your platform tells you what to do, and bing, bang, boom, you hit every single interval exactly how you're supposed to. And you will get wildly fit doing indoor training. So a lot of new people to the sport now, I'm like, hey, you should really think about indoor training because they don't have a power meter. They don't have a heart rate sensor. They have none of this other stuff, and they have to buy it and put it on their bike. I'm like, you could take the same amount of money and just buy an indoor trainer. And now you can cycle all year round. Plus you can hit those intervals and workouts indoors in a really safe space. Like the learning curve is just flattened because the programs do it all for you. And you don't have to figure out a lot of the training items out on the road. You can do it in a very safe place where no cars are around, and you can hit every single one of those intervals. That's like another thing, is the safety aspect of riding indoors. And if you are a parent getting into cycling and you want to get fit, indoor cycling it can't be touched if you're a parent. I'm a parent. I got 2 kids, work a full-time job. I can work out at 5 in the morning. I can race at 8 at night. Like, it doesn't have to be warm and sunny outside in order for me to bike. I can bike at any time of the day. I can bike in my lunch hour real quick. So if you're a parent, if you work full time, if you're time crunched, indoor riding is so sweet. And platforms like Zwift, Trainer Road, MyWhoosh, Indie Velo, like there's so many options out there these days that are so fun and engaging. I just like, if you want to get fit and you want to like take the learning curve of trying to figure out how to train on the bike, indoor training just takes all the work out of your hands, and you learn so much. Like in three months of doing a training plan, you will learn a lot about interval training. Trust me, like you will learn so much to try to become like your own coach. So indoor riding can be fun, and you will get so fit doing it, I promise. Last but not least, I mentioned earlier in this video that I used to be a wrestler. And if there's any wrestlers out there, back when I was in high school, it's been a long time now, right? I'm bald. It's been a while. Man, did we go hard every single practice, right? Like no pain, no gain. That was a common understanding. There wasn't this like, hey, we should rest and try to peak for this event. Like it was go hard every single practice. If we weren't completely drenched in sweat, we weren't practicing hard enough. We weren't getting better. So I took that mentality into cycling. Bad idea. Let me tell you, endurance sports does not operate in that way. So what I have learned is not every ride can be hard. So what I first started doing when I was cycling was like 80 to 90% of my 100%. And I would just do that every single ride. Now, if you do that every single ride, you will get fit. Like, don't get me wrong, but you're going to plateau, right? Like you're going to go, and then you're just going to sit here. And it's probably going to lead to burnout. It's probably going to lead to some injury. It's probably going to lead to like mental fatigue because you just think that you're never growing. So not every ride can be hard. And what I really recommend is if you're biking 5 to 6 times a week, no more than 3 of them should be hard. And what do I mean by hard? Like you're exhausted after the ride. Like it's high intensity. I do a lot of easy riding. At least 2 to 3 a week are pretty easy rides. And I do like a middle ride, and then I do like 2 hard rides. Like you can't go hard every single ride. You have to go hard in order to push past your limits, but then you have to go easy to recover. And recovery is so massive in cycling and trying to hit those workouts each and every day. You have to let your body recover. So you cannot go hard every single ride. And every single ride that you do, you can't go full out in that ride. Like there's interval training for a reason. When you go to the gym, you hit out a rep of 10, and then you go sit down and take a little break. It's the same thing in cycling. You hit your interval, then you take it easy. Hit your interval, then take it easy. I've talked with a lot of friends who are starting interval training, and they don't want to do that easy part because they're like, oh no, I'm not working hard enough. I can't go easy. I can't go easy. No, go easy. So then you can hit your next interval to the best of your ability. That's going to help you push past your limits. That's going to help you grow. You don't want to ever plateau, and sticking at that same intensity the whole ride or every single ride is just going to plateau. So if you want to grow past your limits, you have to push past your limits, but then you have to come back down. You have to recover. So I promise you, if you follow interval training, you take rest days, you take days off the bike, and you take easy days on the bike, you'll go faster. Go slow to go faster. Talk to any cycling coach, any pro, anybody building a training, training program for you, they're going to tell you the same thing. You cannot go hard every single day. It'll lead to burnout. It'll lead to injury. It'll lead to bad mental fatigue. It'll lead to just overall body fatigue, and you'll be mad at your wife for no reason, your husband for no reason, your kids for no reason. Trust me, I've been there. I've been angry for no reason because I'm just tired on the bike, and that's a signal to me that I need to pump the brakes. My family is way more important than what I'm doing on the bike. I need to step back just a second, take a little bit of a break. Let's recover mentally, and then let's go hit it hard. So I really hope these tips helped you, okay? I love cycling. I want to bring more people into the sport of cycling. I think it's just an amazing, amazing sport. And those are things that I wish I knew before I started. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe. Leave a comment on if you thought that this was good info, or if you have things to add, or if you thought it was completely bad info. I don't care. Give it to me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.